Thank you. Miley.
How did you go about inspiring the staff initially? For example, when you talked about the day treatment program, when people were sort of low energy, or maybe they were tired or burned out, or whatever it was.
All of the above and more, yes.
So there were just a few examples of what you did that we might be able to replicate here.
Okay, the very first thing is showing up and being authentic. The next thing really is learning how to cultivate self-love and self-support, because when we can't love and support ourselves, we're taking that empty cup trying to give somebody else water. My granny used to say down in New Orleans, don't go to a dry well for water. Right? Same is true for us. So we would start with that. So underneath this alive model, you guys, can you see that what I've embedded here, because I'm just oh so tricky, what I've embedded here is body, emotions, mind, sorry for the scrolling, spirit. Can you see it's embedded? It's all interwoven, because that's how I like to roll. Make it easy, make it fast. But did you feel any shift in energy just with the simple things we did? With the tapping, okay, it all works. It all works together. And because of my science background, I just love, love, love science. So I take the latest science and I create these models. I do a lot of teaching. I've got a seminar program. By the way, anybody who wants, I've got a 90-minute free seminar for you. Let Colleen know you want it, and I will send you a link, and it's live. It's live. We're going to be on the phone live, so I can go deeper, because this is my passion, and I'd like you to play with me if you'd like to play with me. How many would like to play with me? All right, it's free. You don't have to do anything. It's like one of those, what do they say on the commercials, no obligation or whatever. Okay, other questions? Yes, ma'am.
When you work with that baby, what strengths did you point out initially? Just like you said, working with your family, you don't look at dysfunction, you look at
that's right,
and then go from there.
That's right. Every single one of these so-called severely, chronically, mentally ill people had a talent, and I found it in each one of them. Some of the guys had a talent for drawing. Some could cook. Some were really natty dressers, even though they were living on the street. Some of them were really great with music or with some other function, and if they didn't know what their function was, our job was to present enough opportunities for us to discover it.
But what about the staff, since you're a new person coming in?
What were the staff strengths? I thought you meant the patients. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you. So with the staff, it's easier, because I could just ask them.
Yeah.
Here's how you ask the question. Everybody ask this of yourself. What do I love doing the most? Bring that to work with you. Bring that and share it with other people. Now, I know this sounds, my passion, other than what you see me doing here, is singing. Don't think that I didn't make up songs and mnemonics to help the staff and patients remember things. Okay, here we go. You're going to do one with me. I am worthy. Oh, I can't feel you. I'm sorry. Sorry. Here we go. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
And I am deserving.
And I am deserving.
And I love me. Tap, tap. I love me unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
Now we're going to rock it. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
And I am deserving.
And I am deserving.
And I love me.
And I love me.
Put your heart in it. Unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
Now, it's no good if you do it like that. Turn to the person next to you or behind you and say, you are worthy.
You are worthy.
Look, she's missing somebody. Don't leave anybody out. Don't leave anybody out. Okay, tell them, you are worthy and you are deserving and I love you. What is this? You left her hanging. We don't treat our beloved colleagues like that. You're going to have to do it again. Now make sure nobody's left out, because where there's threes, you got to get the person behind you. Turn to her. Come on. I'm going to bust you now. Come on, come on. Who are you loving? Okay, good, good. All right, now I'm going to have to be strict. I'm going to have to be strict with you guys.
Question.
Yes, dear.
So we work in a big system.
Yeah.
There are people that try to think outside the box.
Yes.
And you run into this wall of hearing but it's a systems problem.
All right, now, I've worked in all kinds of systems. I think that's obvious. And here's how I love to work with systems. There is nothing outside the system except the people in it. These beautiful, open-hearted people in this room, look around. Did you see anybody going, no, I can't possibly love you and tell you you're worthy and affirm you? No! You guys have got this inside. We all do. We're just waiting for somebody to give us permission to be fully human. So I invite you. Now remember, if my thoughts are, there's a wall, and that's what I'm focused on, am I stuck? If my thoughts are, boom, I'm alive. Fully, completely alive, and so are you, by the way. And not only that, you're worthy and deserving, and I love you unconditionally, and I'm bringing that to you. What's going to happen? They better look out here at SFGH. You guys are going to, So please, 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 I beg you, if there's nothing else that you remember, I'd like to respond directly to what you said. See yourself as powerful enough to walk in here and be your true self. Bring your open heart. Bring your aliveness. Your life depends on it. Your life depends on it. I see so many of our colleagues 5 years into their career, 10 years, and everyone's like this. I'm like, oh dear God, let's get that energy moving. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's energize ourselves. That gives us enough to actually make a difference with our patients. Do you think our patients don't notice how we show up? Do you think they don't see if somebody's like that? I hear it all. I've worked in maximum security prisons. I got this job teaching probation, parole, and prison officers because I was the only person who didn't get attacked. You know why? Because I walked in and I said, hello, how are you doing, Miss Smith and Miss Jones? And how are you, Mr. Brown? And how are you? And I would say hello to people, touch them, call them by name, not you, 62405, come sit down. I'd say, excuse me, do you have a few minutes? They're in frickin' maximum security prison, there's nothing but time. Say, do you have a few minutes? I'd like to talk to you. And the prisoners were like, hey, doc, now they're protecting and blocking for me. Why? Because they're people. They're people, and I'm connecting from here, heart to heart, person to person, human to human. Human to human. I dare you to experiment with this and see what your day is like. See how you feel at the end of your day. That you might go home feeling energized and uplifted instead of going home going, can somebody make me a drink, please? Where is my mojito? Because I am done with SFGH, right? You might go home feeling, I've got some more energy for my family and for myself. Would that be good? You sure about that? Okay. All right, questions? Yes, Katrina.
What would you say, or how would we approach the issue around where to draw the line of boundaries? Because on one hand, in inviting us to be more open and more...
What's your fear? What's your fear? Name the fear. It's a game anybody can play. Name that fear.
That if your boundary...
and I want you to make it about you. My fear is...
If I am too either touchy-feely or involved with patients, then it will be therapeutically wrong for them.
Therapeutically wrong in whose book?
It's certainly not mine.
All right, so look, let's talk about boundaries. How many of you know what professional boundaries are?
Yeah.
You all know what they are, but does it mean you can't be alive and be energizing and inspiring to your patients? No. I'm not taking, when I was at Baby O'Hearns, I wasn't taking my patients home. I was teaching them how to create a home for themselves. How to feel more alive, to feel acknowledged as people, not as a case or a number or a diagnosis or a pathological system that I was there to judge and make wrong. Because the minute we judge something and make it wrong, you guys know the research on marriage, don't you? The minute we go into judging and making wrong in a partnership, what happens to the energy in the partnership? Gone. I mean, you guys know the Love Lab, John Gottman, University of Washington. That was his most compelling finding. He called it the C's. I call it the C's, actually. He made up some other stuff, but I call it the C's. Criticism, coldness, contempt, combativeness, and control. Bing! But on the other hand, we have the A's. We've got the A's. You know what the A's are. Appreciation. Golden, admiration, looking for the strengths, right? What we look for, we'll find. Acceptance. Bet you can guess the next one.
Authenticity.
Affection. 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 Affection doesn't have to be with your patients. Oh, darling, let me give you a hug. Sometimes that's not appropriate. You know that. On the other hand, affection can be, it's really good to see you. An authentic expression of I'm present with you. Is that good? Thank you for the question. Other questions? We have time for maybe, yes?
What if, I mean, it makes sense that in families, you know, a more stable family is better, but what about in situations where it's not safe for parents to stay together, or?
Then that's not a stable family by definition. Now, I don't think there's anything I haven't done. So the very first family violence diversion program with Judge, oh God, I just blocked his name. Oh, because he's still around. It'll come to me, let me let it go for a second. The very first one of those programs, I was the therapist. So here I have all these guys who've been ordered to my program or they will go to jail. So it's my class or jail. And the thing the judge did that was really lovely is he gave me a guy named Marvin Pugh, whom I'll never forget. Marvin Pugh was literally 7'1" and about 300 pounds. And he sat by the door and I led the class. So I didn't have any problem with any compliance. So, because all Marvin had to do was stand up. The room came to attention. So anyway, what happened, it's Weinstein, Judge Weinstein, Danny Weinstein. There we go, I knew that name would come back to me. All right, so what we did in these programs was we got to the fear. Because the opposite of alive is being fear-driven. Do you understand? Yes. Because fear is this. Everybody, let's do fear. Fear is contract, contract, contract. That's how fear feels. Don't breathe. Don't breathe just enough to stay alive. Come on, don't breathe. That's fear. And if I'm like this, contracted, and you get too close to me, 2 minutes? Thank you. I'm going to wrap up. Is that a time cue? 1 minute. Okay, that's it, time cue. All right, let me leave you with something. My last minute, okay, may I? Keep doing the learning that you're doing because that contributes to the aliveness. Whether it's CE credits, taking my 90-minute class, reading, anything we do where the brain does this, contributes to aliveness, and it's the simplest thing to do, and it also, of course, contributes to our body of knowledge in this field. So thank you all so much. It's an honor to be with you, and thank you, Colleen, for inviting me to come back. I appreciate you so much. Sweetie, God bless you. You're the best. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Turn-in, oh yeah, turn-in value. And if you want the class, let Colleen know, okay? Colleen will make it all happen. Hey, how are you?
Actually, my phone fell in the toilet.
Darling?
It's not backed up, so I'm just recalculating all my numbers.